what was first intended to be private, confidential, or secret to divulge the terms of a contract. So the idea of...
Can you do the first two sentences again?
Yeah, to disclose something that was unknown or secret. And to make something visible. That's one of my favorite. Because the only evidence of the resurrection are the disciples. Us, right? There is no forensic evidence of Jesus' resurrection. We're portable, mobile evidence. To make something visible that had been hidden or covered. And this is what we see the woman do. She reveals Jesus through her testimony and brings people, and they have their own personal encounter with Jesus. We reveal, but we're only revealing something that they themselves must have an encounter with. They must now interact with what's been revealed. Now the idea here, to answer some of your questions, the way this is used, this is like your internal compass. This is how we're trying to use it. It's the Acts 1:8 compass, right? It's what's in your mind when you're with people. It's what keeps you focused. So one thing this does, it keeps you focused. If your core concept is a witness, one who reveals God, you're asking in everything you do, how are we revealing God to people who don't know God? How are we revealing God to people who have questions and doubts and concerns about God? And this definition invades all these places of life that we don't normally associate as places to reveal God. We don't normally think of places of social activism or justice as a place to reveal God. We have a team that goes down to Mexico, and they have all these non-Christians come with them, more non-Christians in that one little team than in our entire ministry, perhaps. And when I would ask them, and they would get these non-Christians to go with them, build houses, and even go out and pray with people. They would go door to door and just pray with people. Non-Christians would be like, okay, I guess I'm going along. And they're like going around, I pray for you. And they're like, wow, I've never prayed for anybody before. So then I asked the Mexico team, so how are you helping them understand Jesus from this? How are you revealing Jesus to them on these trips? And he looks at me, he's like, I've never thought about that. But you can see how fertile the soil of evangelism is right there. The evangelism, he's like, oh my gosh, just move aside. It's like, all right, social activist Chase has got you to Mexico. Now get out of the way. We're telling you about Jesus, But what I'm trying to but what it's saying is that this idea is that is the place for God to be revealed. Even in our prayers, there's this conviction that our prayers are not just for ourselves and our needs, although that is important, but that God will be revealed in our friends' lives through our prayers. But they tend to feel like these, individualized, personal experiences that don't have any value for anybody else. The other thing, so one, it holds focus, but it keeps perspective. It holds focus. You're asking, how can I reveal God? And it keeps that kind of what we call evangelistic focus there. But it holds a perspective that doesn't allow it to become narrow and myopic, so that the evangelist and evangelism is the only way we reveal God. That proclaiming the Word and speaking the Word and teaching and talking about Jesus isn't the only way we reveal Jesus. And we tend to do it either or. We tend to go either this or this. It's hard to put the two together. So I see this girl yesterday, and she's, I just see her on the side of the road, and we just did this teaching on the Good Samaritan, right? So I drive by her, and trying to meet with Terry and Rick, and I'm like, I don't have time! I'm like, God, this is like the passage, So I make a U-turn, I pull off, right? This is a deeds moment. I'm going to, get her some gas, right? She's out of gas. All right, so I get her thing, I get her little container, I get my container, I go get gas. But as I'm coming back, I start to think, man, God, it's like a foreign idea invades my little moment and goes, how are you going to let her know that I'm the one giving her this gas? How will you help her see me right now? I'm revealing myself to her, and I've been building this moment. How will you tell her about me? I'm all, and I don't know. I get nervous. This is yesterday. I'm like, I don't realize, okay, I can say this. And I'm telling you, I was nervous, right? I walk up to her because I don't know. I feel kind of awkward. She's this girl all by herself, probably feeling vulnerable, and I don't know. I just want to give her a gas and leave. I don't want to be this intimidating, scary dude. Oh, so what do you think about Jesus? Oh my God! They're really this freak! Boyfriend, come right now. Hurry. So I walk up and I just get this idea. Okay, she's going to probably offer me money. I'm going to say no. I'm going to tell her, you know what? This is just a sign that God loves you. And sure enough, she offers me the money, and I'm like, oh, no thanks. I'm kind of say something, and it's this moment of deeds. And now, obviously, this moment could be a moment where you're protesting something, you're getting people to sign something. It could be a more radical place of social activism, right? This is just a very small social activist kind of place. But I'm just trying to let this idea invade this moment. How can I let her see God? How can I pull the basket out of the bushel? So I finally eke it out. I'm like, well, she offers the money again. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it. I go, really? No, it's all right. You don't need to give me your money. Just consider this a moment where God revealed his love to you. God loves you. And I kind of look at her and I'm like, and, that's it. I leave, And I think to myself, all the things I could have said, but oh well. The point is that this idea, it creates an invasion on all these places we don't normally think. So when you're praying, it's hard to get our students to pray for their non-Christian friends. How can you begin to pray for your friends and reveal God to your friends through prayer? So it holds perspective, but get this. Another way of looking at the same concept, but in another way, is it invites people to the table that wouldn't normally be at the table when we're talking about evangelism. Okay? Because the evangelists tend to think they hold the monopoly on evangelism. They're the ones that know about evangelism. That's not true. Some of my social justice friends are just powerful evangelists, just waiting to happen. If you look at evangelist as someone who speaks it, they're doing these actions and they're such a powerful witness. People are seeing God around them in a way that my words wouldn't necessarily be able to do. And I'm thinking, I need that. I need that in my life. It invites the social activists, the intercessors, it invites people to the table of evangelism under this idea of witness that wouldn't normally feel there's a place for them. In our division, we're doing this outreach, JJP, and this is a tribute for Jesus, Justice, and Poverty. Years ago, we got a new divisional director, so we appointed James. And one of the things about James that makes him a really gifted director is he has these things in him. So the idea is that ultimately, these things are not so much, I got to find all these, a prayer task on my schedule, I got to have a social activist task on my schedule, and I got to have an evangelism task. The idea is that in all places, these things are kind of happening together, integrated. Awesome. The idea is the integration of these things, and it's very stilted, very awkward at first, it's very compartmentalized in our thinking at first, but as you keep moving in it, it will begin to integrate. Good. Awesome. It will begin to come together in ways that are just, it will set you free. And James is really integrated. He has a deep passion for evangelism. He is an evangelist, whether he won't tell you he is, but he is. But he's also a social activist. And he understands the language, the thinking, and the lifestyle of the social activist. And he's, the guy's enslaved in the spirit, and he understands the power gifts. He understands, sorry, but he understands the power of prayer. So they're integrated in him just because of his growth and maturity as a leader, and that he's matured in that way because of people that have been around him, and he's been willing to integrate these things into his life. But it allows him as a divisional director to create a table where you've got Lars, one of the social activists in our community, and you got Ryan and Jesse at the table as evangelists, and we're all having these conversations about things, and we're creating an outreach that will witness and reveal God through all these means. That will reveal God through social activism, through justice, through the invitation, through declaring Jesus died for you in the midst of a social activist moment. Yeah. Okay. Last thing, and then let's do teams, is the evangelist has something to learn about revealing God from other people. And the social activist has something to learn about revealing God in their content and what they're doing. And of course, I'm being simplistic, but of course in the prayer thing as well. One last thing is simply this. The idea is integration. You'll start compartmentalized. Don't get discouraged. You'll move and see things coming together in really amazing ways. Jesus, with the Samaritan woman, speaks of power. It demonstrates a power gift, a word of knowledge. You don't have one husband. You're correct. You have 5. He interacts with her. And he engages with her. He engages in what we would call racial reconciliation. He crosses a social boundary and engages with someone you wouldn't do unless you're a social activist. Someone right off the